Our guest today is Justice Anthony Fernando. Welcome to the Africa Center for Strategic Studies. He is he's from the Seychelles Court of Appeal. The Seychelles is an island group in the Indian Ocean, north of Madagascar, with a territorial jurisdiction of 1.37 million square kilometers of sea. And with the rise in piracy over the years, the Seychelles has played a very important role in adjudicating and penalizing maritime crimes. Thank you very much, Justice Fernando, for speaking with us today. Now, the first question is, your country in 2010 reformed its laws to make it possible to penalize and adjudicate maritime crimes. What prompted these changes?
The main reason was, prior to 2010, our courts had only jurisdiction over offences committed within the territory of Seychelles. That is, of course, the landmass, plus the airspace above the landmass, and also the 12-mile radius, that is the territorial sea. Now, in order to deal with piracy offences that were committed outside our territorial waters, and to give our courts jurisdiction, it became absolutely necessary for us to amend the laws, to give our courts jurisdiction, to try offences committed even outside in any part of the high seas, provided, of course, it was not committed within the territory of another state.
Right. Now, I mean, what have been the lessons? Have you seen a decrease in maritime crime as a result of these new laws that you've put in place?
I believe mainly the reason for the decrease in piracy was the patrolling of the waters by the various countries and the UNIFOR. I don't think the prosecutions itself had much of an impact. It's the mere fact that these pirates used to come onto the sea had been arrested and then brought to various countries for prosecutions.
Right.
Seychelles, Kenya and Mauritius. Of course, Seychelles did the most number of prosecutions, or held the most number of trials.
Right. And have your prosecutions increased as a result of this?
Well, from 2009 to 2014, there were a number of cases, but now there's been a decrease. That is, of course, mainly due to, as I said earlier, to the patrolling of the waters, of the Somalian waters.
Right. Now, you said earlier that your laws allow you to adjudicate crimes that are committed outside of the territory, outside of the, your territory.
Prior to 2009, only within the territory. That's why it became absolutely necessary to amend our laws in 2010 June, actually. So we amended the laws so that our courts would have jurisdiction to try offences even committed on the high seas in any part of the world, provided, of course, it doesn't come within the territory of another state.
Right. And how do other countries react to this law?
Well, of course, it was our international obligation, because we are a signatory to the UNCLOS, that is the United Nations Convention, the law of the sea. I mean, there was no reaction. I mean, in fact, we have been useful to the international community by taking over the prosecution and the trial of most of the maritime pirates.
I see. And are there any lessons you think that other maritime nations can learn from your experience in the Seychelles?
I believe so, because I've just come to know, and I've also heard, that most countries do not have an updated or new maritime piracy laws. Even ours, prior to the amendment, usually goes back to a time of piracy that was the law of UK. Now, of course, we have incorporated the provisions of the UNCLOS, that is the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, into our penal code.
Right. And what would you say, finally, should be the pitfalls? What are the pitfalls that countries should avoid in establishing this type of legal framework?
Well, I suppose most countries would necessarily will have to amend their laws, because most countries have outdated laws. So it's time that they, keeping up with their international obligations, it's time that they amend their laws to deal with piracy committed even outside their territorial waters.
Well, Justice Fernando, thank you very much for that very quick discussion. This is definitely a very interesting topic, and we'll definitely keep in touch with you as you move along.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.